Hi, my name is Dan Cohen. I'm part of the team that developed Body Sound Technology. And we did this for two reasons. First, we were really interested in developing a technology that would be dramatically beneficial for stress reduction and relaxation. And secondly, which was my particular interest, I wanted something that would facilitate spiritual growth. When we began in 1997, we started off with vibroacoustics, that's sound and vibration. But what we learned was we really needed to add electromagnetism, and so we ended up with a product that had synchronized electromagnetic fields with synchronized sound and vibration. And that really did the trick in terms of producing profound levels of relaxation for stress reduction, and which also facilitated spiritual development, in addition to stimulating the human energy system, again, to assist with both of those applications. Using body sound technology to facilitate spiritual development essentially involves three different processes. The first is learning how to deeply relax, really profoundly relax. The second is learning how to subordinate or really quiet the ego. And the third is an interesting process that we term spiritual entrainment. Before we get into all these processes, I'd like to give you a little background on the spiritual entrainment piece. Scientifically, it's pretty well accepted at this time that everything vibrates. So every aspect of you, from your atoms, molecules, cells, tissues, even your organs, all exist in a state of subtle vibration. That means every aspect of you has what we would term a resonant frequency, which is the frequency at which it vibrates most easily. The simplest example would be, let's say, a 100 hertz tuning fork, which obviously has a resonant frequency of 100 hertz. I think it's fairly safe to assume that every aspect of you has also an ideal resonant frequency, and that would be the frequency at which that object, or in this case a cell or an atom or a molecule, is functioning in its most ideal manner. With this in mind, it's easy to conceive that there are aspects of you that are vibrating at their ideal resonant frequencies, but other aspects of you that are only vibrating at a resonant frequency that, let's say, is not ideal. If you assume that every object or every part of you is predisposed to naturally vibrate at its ideal resonant frequency, the key question is, can it be shifted to do so? Fortunately, the answer is yes. The process is called entrainment, which is when two objects with different frequencies of vibration assume a common frequency. In this way, it's possible to shift the resonant frequency of an object to its ideal frequency by exposing it to a frequency which will entrain it to its ideal level. This is the fundamental concept behind spiritual entrainment. Just as every aspect of our physical body vibrates, so does each aspect of our energy system. Now, certain aspects of our energy system contain many or even an infinite array of frequencies. Now, for a second, just consider your personal spiritual self, or what we would call your soul. That energetic structure contains a broad spectrum of frequencies. When you are fully soul embodied, you as your soul are grounded throughout all of your physical body. In that instance, all of your physical matter is exposed to all of that frequency content. In that way, spiritual entrainment can take place. Now, let's take this to the next level as you learn to better manifest Source throughout and around all of you by expanding your center line or your spirit line. In that case, all of you is exposed to infinite frequency content because, of course, Source has infinite frequency content. So in that way, all of you can be entrained to vibrate at its ideal resonant frequency. So the million-dollar question is, How can you most easily move into states of being soul, or better yet, source embodied, which facilitate spiritual entrainment? The first goal in using body sound technology is to learn how to achieve a profoundly relaxed state of being, which in addition also leads to quieting one's ego. Let's discuss this process first before getting back to spiritual entrainment. Since the days of our early ancestors, we've essentially been endowed with a nervous system that has a built-in, hardwired survival mechanism. As a result, we're always scanning our environment, both subconsciously and consciously, for potential danger. So we do this by using our senses of sight, hearing, and touch. But while you're in a body sound session, you don't need to worry about, safety and security. It's okay. So you can turn off this survival mechanism. And we do this by habituating your senses of sight, hearing, and touch. And that produces a brain state of inattention. And that resembles a self-induced trance-like state, believe it or not. Typically, when you go to sleep at night, you turn the lights off and you close your eyes. Well, we simulate the same thing. We darken the room and we instruct you to close your eyes and to either deeply relax or even fall asleep. That's okay. So as a result, your visual system receives no stimulus. During the session, we play layered music, and so multiple melodies are playing simultaneously. That makes it really hard for your brain to follow the music. This causes a dramatic reduction in your desire to listen, and so that allows you to simply let the music go by and feel all the bass and mid-range frequencies, because the transducers are turning the sound also into vibration. The relatively constant sound and vibration causes your brain, your neural circuitry associated with hearing and touch, to become habituated. So in essence, you stop attending to those stimuli. The reduced activity, therefore, of your brain, this neural circuitry related to sight and hearing and touch, which really supports your survival mechanism, that causes you to become far less vigilant or tense. And as a result, you can't help but become more relaxed. It's almost like a reflex. We use the constancy of sound and vibration to help put you into that deeply relaxed state. But one of the really interesting things about sound and vibration is that when they change in intensity, they cause you to wake up. So the idea is you fall asleep, let the technology wake you up. So what happens in session is you start out at this awake state, and then you kind of drift down, and then you move up and down as the technology wakes you up. And you're looking to find this sweet spot. And that's exactly the state of consciousness that you want to achieve, because what you'll notice in that state is how relaxed your body feels. And when you really can capture that feeling state, you can recreate it at will whenever you wish. This profound level of relaxation dramatically reduces or eliminates stress, and that essentially allows you to feel good whenever you want to. So why shouldn't you? Why shouldn't you learn this and be able to feel this way at will? A secondary benefit of rendering the body asleep or nearly asleep in this process of learning how to profoundly relax is that you are also learning how to put your ego to sleep. Clearly, your ego, which is your beliefs, your conditioning, your coping strategies, and all of your lower mind processing, that is all function of the brain. Therefore, if your brain is asleep or nearly so, so is your ego. When you are profoundly relaxed in a body sound session, the awareness that you retain, and which grows with practice, results from your higher mind. In other words, your spiritual self. That is what you truly are as a person. As you become increasingly more adept at being in this state of consciousness, you are more soul embodied and much less ego identified. You learn what it is like to quiet or subordinate the ego. And with practice and intention, further degrees of ego subordination support this spiritual progression. In support of both of these processes, learning how to profoundly relax and quieting the ego, is the stimulation from the synchronized magnetic fields, which is also driven by the music, converted by the transducers. Through our investigation of this technology over the past 16 years, we have learned how to stimulate the human energy system, which facilitates much greater spiritual flow throughout the entire physical body. The magnetic fields are located at the level of the root chakra, stimulating that structure directly, as well as the spirit line or center line, which passes right through those magnetic fields. This latter stimulation affects the entirety of the human energy system, as all energy structures emerge from that center line, which is in essence source. Stimulation of the root chakra creates greater feelings of safety and security due to the function of that chakra. This is of great benefit for becoming more relaxed and to aid in ego subordination. But in addition, enhancing greater spiritual flow under the direction of your intention leads to much greater soul embodiment and, over time, spiritualizing matter with source energies. These effects elicit the spiritual entrainment process that was discussed earlier. One of the most affirming aspects of this entire process is that most people can actually feel what is happening. They can feel it with their bodies, because as we spiritually integrate, you can feel that presence, your spiritual presence, interfacing with the matter of your body, and what you feel is a subtle vibration. Many people can also hear that vibration, and over time what happens is the sense of feeling it becomes finer and the hearing it becomes of a higher pitch. And that's really very affirming because it's so present, within you. All in all, you'll experience much and you'll notice many changes as you progress. Enjoy your path.